streaming only on Peacock.
What do you know about Dr. Dunch?
He was charming, intelligent.
My patients mean everything to me.
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of it.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of. The state of Texas has executed people for less.
It's like he knew what he was supposed to do, and he did the exact opposite.
Dr. Death, starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
Good morning, Pop Chasers, and happy July 13th.
Monday.
It is, well, it's not Monday, it's Tuesday.
Oh, crap. You're right. It's Tuesday.
Someone's trying to, if you guys listened to our Friday episode, we had Kate was not here, but she had a little cameo, and I think she's just trying to have a thing.
Yeah, I was trying to have a thing, and I totally screwed it up.
I mean, you can still do it with Tuesday. There's nothing stopping you.
Tuesday.
That's it.
Oh.
I'm Allison, and I am joined by Kate, and we are the hosts of Pop Chaser, a daily pop culture podcast brought to you by The Dip. Yeah, as we said, it is Tuesday. I am stressed right now.
Why is that?
I went out for a little walk this morning, and I felt a bug fly into my hair. And I think I shook it out, but I feel like then also it's still there. Like I'm having phantom crawls.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I have brushed my hair, I think 150 times at this point, and I can still feel it. And I'm like, I think it's not real, but I'm so paranoid that I have like a family living in my hair now. So,
well, I did read about something once.
Oh God.
Do you want to hear? Do you want to hear
I don't think so. Not with that lead in. Not with that lead in.
Where somebody talked about how they were an eye doctor and somebody came into them saying that they had like a swollen eye and nobody could kind of figure out and diagnose it. And the doctor just flipped up the lid, which I guess nobody had
say there
done.
Was like eggs.
And there were eggs.
Oh my God.
But at least it's not in your eye.
Yeah. Thank God. That is the worst thing I've ever heard. I'm not even trying to be funny. That's the most disgusting. You know, like there was always that, I feel like it was like an old wives' tale legend that like if you like lick an envelope, you know, there's like sometimes there's eggs in the glue, and if you get like any type of a paper cut or you have a cut on your lip or your tongue, those eggs can embed themselves into, and then you'll grow eggs in your tongue. So that's why you should never lick an envelope, supposedly. That and like anthrax, I don't know.
Oh, that's just like big 3M trying to get you to get the self-sealers.
Well, all I'm saying is you just told me about a real life story that's really no different, if not more horrifying.
I mean, now you're freaking me out though, because I had 2 bugs yesterday. 2 bugs flew into my eye. So it's double the chance that something might happen to me. So if you start seeing things get a little funky over here,
yeah,
let me know.
Bug girls.
Yeah.
But now I'm feeling like creepy crawlers all over me. Like I just looked at my foot to make sure I didn't feel like it's like now I truly am going crazy. But anyway, we should probably get into today's topics. What a day. We have a lot to discuss. We will cover The Bachelorette as we always do on Wednesday's episode, but a bloodbath is all I'll say. Total bloodbath. And we knew that like 5 people were going home, but like a complete bloodbath. And then it is dwindling down. We'll get into all of the dirty details, quite literally the dirty details tomorrow. So everybody has time to catch up. But until then, we do have some stuff we can talk about Bachelorette wise that isn't spoilery. And that would specifically be Katie Thurston's tan lines.
Oh my gosh.
This became a bit of a passion project for me on Monday.
As it should.
When I was looking up on the ABC press site photos from this week's episode, and I happened to notice that Katie was wearing a strapless, I think it was a jumpsuit, but I might be wrong. I think it was a jumpsuit, and it was the one that she wore on the drag queen date, the group date. Now, look, I think that a conversation that maybe should be had, and I've certainly seen it on Twitter, is the wardrobe choices that Katie's been wearing have been interesting.
I think her daytime
off.
looks in particular, her daytime looks. I've been okay with some of the nighttime looks.
So you've been okay when her metallic green dress matches her metallic green eyeshadow?
There's a time and a place, and sometimes it's a place.
But it is a conversation people are talking about this on Twitter. But so I'm not here to shame her for wearing a strapless top. But what I am here to shame her for is wearing a strapless top when she has a sports bra tan line. I think that that is just not what I deserve as a viewer who's invested. I'm not even being funny here. 20 years of my life on this show, and you're giving me that kind of quality. I wrote in an article. It's like, I came back from a 4th grade trip to Mexico with my family, and I wanted to show everybody how tan I got drinking virgin pina coladas in the 4th grade, sitting next to the pool and swimming with a dolphin one day. So I wore a smocked sundress to show off my one piece from Limited 2 tan lines. I was hot shit. And that's what Katie's doing. And if it's not Katie, it's the costume designer, or it's the fashion stylist. It's the makeup artist.
What this proves to me is just how prepared all of this is, right? These looks are all chosen out for each week.
Got to have a sub
way ahead of time, right? So I know you gotta plan around the possibility for a tan line, but I think that's what happened, is that this was the outfit for this drag date. You had to do it, and she had to go for it.
It was a glitzier look, so I get it. But I mean, this girl has only been wearing glitz, that or flannel. It's been one or the other. But yeah, it was shocking to me. I just couldn't believe, I actually don't even put the blame on Katie, because I do think her being Katie, she could have said something, see something, say something. But at the end of the day, I really just feel like our producers here don't have her best interests in mind.
Well, and it also is a question of how this persists throughout the rest of the season too. Tan lines don't go away in a day.
No, and I got something for you. The tan lines actually gave away a little bit of a filming blunder.
Ooh.
So you know how she went on her date with Blake Moynes last week. So this is last week's episode. She went on, and we had to sit through that horrible performance by Lane Hardy, or whatever the hell his name was, the musician.
Which, by the way, I will listen to Friday's episode, and he's a winner of American Idol. Respect.
They don't listen to him, Kate. They don't know who he is. But my point being is, she wore a strapless dress there, no tan lines. Get this. She then goes to Ball Bash. Tan lines. She got the tan lines from Ball Bash. She's wearing a sports bra. You can totally tell it's exactly the same cut. So Ball Bash takes another victim, I mean, as if that wasn't bad enough.
Well, so then, we just obviously then see just how magical the editing is of a Bachelor. And it's funny to me, because I have started watching The Mole.
Best show ever.
It's
on Netflix?
Yes, on Netflix. Yes.
Oh my God, I have so much tea. How am I going to do this?
But that's a show, for those of you who do not remember, from 2001, starring Anderson Cooper was the host. And I think Anderson just wanted to go to a bunch of different really cool cities in Europe, and they just filmed all in these places. And it's so pure and so genuine, and it's early reality TVism. But after every episode, they say there's a disclaimer that says this was edited, to help continuity problems or something or whatever, the outcome was not affected. But every episode, they felt like they had to say that there was editing involved to kind of make the show what it was.
They're honest people.
Yeah, which we don't do that anymore.
No, we don't. The Mole is so great. Have you ever seen it before?
No.
Oh my God. So you have to then get to Celebrity Mole, which stars Kathy Griffin, Eric Von Detten, throwback, and Angie Everhart. I mean, it is truly incredible. That Celebrity Mole is great. It's just so fun to look for the clues, guys. And then they did a revival of The Mole, and then it only lasted one season.
I'm pretty sure I know who The Mole is at this point, but
I think I would love to be on The Mole.
I'm really worried about getting spoilers, though. I have to stay off Twitter.
Yeah, be careful. That's that's tough to avoid. People are talking about it all the time.
All the time.
You can't avoid it. It's unavoidable. It's it's like The Bachelorette. It's It's in the mole. Those are the two trending things every
time
Monday night.
Anderson goes on CNN, he's talking about.
He's like, I'm going to spoil what happened to me 20 years ago. Oh my God,
exactly. He's talking about like the House of Representatives and then the mole.
So speaking of the mole, there is a new show coming to HBO Max that kind of has, this is like a perfect segue.
It actually is.
It has Bachelorette meets the mole vibes. And it is called F-Boy Island. So let me give you the premise. Basically, there's 3 women who are trying to find love. But what the show is trying to do is kind of like flip like reality dating shows on their head, because we always know that people go there for the wrong reasons. I mean, we talk about it all the time. And what this show is doing is it is bringing, I think, 24 men to this island with these 3 women. Half of them are there because they're nice guys and want to find someone. The other half are there because they're self-proclaimed fuckboys, and they can win $100,000, I think, if they get to the end. So you basically are faking a relationship. But it's like you have to figure out who is and who isn't a fuckboy. I mean, I'm in. It sounds great.
Well, it's also hosted by Nikki Glazer, who's great. So already they found a good source there. But yeah, I mean, I would think it'd be easy to find a self-proclaimed fuckboy, because they consider themselves a self-proclaimed fuckboy. Like, I know,
but I think they're trying to put it on. They're trying to trick you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this show, and I'm so sorry to make this comparison. I Can See Your Voice, hosted by Ken Jeong. Look, guys, last summer was dark. We all know that. I don't need to tell you. But there came a point where my parents and I watched back to back The Masked Singer and then I Can See Your Voice.
Great show.
So we were watching, that's 2 full hours of Ken Jeong. And it's a show basically
slap like an Apatow film on there, and then you got like 7 straight hours.
And well, you've got like so basically you have like 8 people, only like 4 of them are professional, like real singers. The other 4 are terrible singers, and they all lip sync, and you have to guess who is and who isn't a real person. And the more you eliminate, obviously the higher the risk of not ending with somebody who is a real singer. It's exactly like this. So they're going to be eliminating people throughout the process, and hopefully, a nice guy ends up and then they get their money. But the F-boys are there, guys. They are there.
It really does to me have also like early 2000s reality show vibes. Like there's a sense of trickery involved here, that the only difference is that they're
I Want to Marry Harry vibes.
Yeah. But in this case, they're upfront with the women, right? They're like, you are going to have some fake people here, but you're going to have some real people here, versus like back in the day.
2001, they would not have told anybody.
It's like, hey, how do you want to come on a game show and get 20 years of therapy? Right.
Well, it premieres July 29th on HBO Max. So I definitely am going to watch this. I think it's going to be one of those, like, I'm here for a good time, not a long time kind of thing. End of summer before Paradise begins. I'm ready.
And interesting that HBO is getting into the reality game, because they really have not done very much yet.
Well, there was the iconic reality show, Take a Shot with Bethany or whatever it was called. Bethany's Big Shot.
Yeah, which we all like to forget. Is your dog with you right now?
No.
I hear some heavy panting from your side.
Okay, he is.
Just so the listener knows, if you hear that, it is a dog.
I was thinking it was subtle, but he's just gnawing on my finger. Hold on, I'm gonna just let him. I apologize, listeners. I thought that it was one of those things that I could disguise, but. So moving on to our last topic. Now, this is a little bit scandalous, and I'm ready to really break this down with you, Kate. Southern Charm star Naomi, who formerly of Naomi and Craig, thank God formerly, and her boyfriend Matul, I think, broke up. That is the rumor on Dumois.
Multiple sources, though. So first of all, it was tweeted out by, friend of the dip, Maggie at Best of Bravo. So she heard something from her source, and then Dumois had multiple sources write in and say that this had happened. And if you look at Naomi's social media, you will see that some pictures have been cleared.
All of the photos with Matul have been cleared. And now keep in mind, Naomi just moved to New York with Matul a week ago. So what happened between then? I'm gonna say what Dumois says. Can I say that?
Yes.
Am I allowed to?
Yes, allegedly.
Allegedly, Matul cheated on her with his ex. Now, we have not fact-checked that, and we probably won't. But I will say this, that's what the rumor mill is saying. Now, she's also reportedly back in Charleston, which is like, girl, just stay in New York. You're going to find, like, don't go back to Charleston. We know the guys that are waiting for you.
Yeah, in the midst of breakup, though, you always run back to Bravo's show that you once were on.
You think she'll go back to the show?
Stephanie. I mean, look, we've seen it happen before.
Now,
it's like,
that's
when you have a big life change, the only stability you can get is the stability of the cameras of Bravo surrounding you.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's poetic.
That should be their new tagline.
I hope she doesn't go back to that show, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. And we know they're not filming right now because Craig was just in the Hamptons
because
for
they're all
Summer
Summer House instead, which is this crossover is getting to be a little bit too much.
Yeah, it's a little much, but I mean, I feel horrible for her. It's like, I thought Matul seemed like a real winner.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, like, he was always busy and that was like always a thing. Well, I mean, now you look back though, and I'm like, why was he always busy?
Yeah, you always have to be wary of somebody that's too busy to be around.
But he's also like a very important doctor, isn't he? Like an anesthesiologist or something?
I guess that would be a busy job. But one thing that I always thought during the pandemic, I thought, this must be really hard on people that are trying to live double lives and have affairs.
Well, that's what our girl Kaya Wilson of Friday Pop Chaser fame always says about Tristan Thompson. The only year he didn't cheat on Chloe was 2020 was because of the pandemic.
Right, but can you imagine even still if you had like actually like you were in a relationship, but you also have another family? There's always those people that have that somehow where they actually have two families and like one is in a different state or something like that. And
what did they do?
Like, what do? You have to choose which one you quarantine with.
And how do you, I mean, then you have to be exposed. You have to be exposed.
Yeah. Or it's just even more exhausting. I don't know how they do it anyway. It seems like it's too much work for me, but.
No, I mean, guys, I literally have a 6-month-old puppy that's eating my hand off right now. I can't have 2 phone numbers texting people at the same time. I can only handle one thing. It's just like, I mean, I almost tip my hat to these people, but you have to be a real like sociopath to be able to do that, to like separate your life like that. You know?
Yeah. I mean, and just think about what you can accomplish if you channel that energy elsewhere.
I mean, and then to think you are an anesthesiologist who also allegedly is able to 2 times someone.
Yeah, like how you have time. I mean, that's what they call compartmentalization of being able to kind of live 2 different lives completely and actually not feel bad about either one of them, which was famously like what they always said about like Ted Bundy and other murderers, that like they have a life where they have like, and I'm not saying anyone here we're discussing is a murderer, but you're able to.
But we're not saying they're not. No, I'm just kidding.
And when it comes to the cats of Vanderpump Rules, all jury's out. But you
oh my God, here I am throwing Matul under the bus. We've got our number 1 boy, Jax Taylor.
Exactly, like somebody who has done this for a career almost.
It's his
like
career.
This is what he does, is just like 2 times his people in his lives.
Yeah, he's Jax and then he's Jason.
He is 2 different people. You're right. I
mean, all the signs were there, actually.
It's all there.
All the signs were there when they went on that vacation, and he brought his quote friend from quote Florida.
Oh my
and he
God.
was like, yeah, Jason. I know him as Jason Couchy, guys.
When those days were good, they were good though.
Oh, were they good? Remember the sunglasses? Why do people always steal? And listeners, let me know. I've never stolen anything before because I just have such bad like I'm just so scared that I'm gonna get in trouble. Like,
right. It's not worth it.
One time I took a pencil from school that wasn't mine, and I found it in my backpack later on accidentally, and I had my mom email my teacher to let her know that I was like, I'm so guilt-ridden. So anyway, I haven't stolen anything before, not even like a candy from the store. I just have never. I didn't do that when I was younger, but why do people always steal sunglasses? And like, listener, if you're there, let us know. Like, you're like, I had a thievery background.
Well, so here's why I think it's actually pretty easy to steal. So if you go into any of those, like if you go into like a sunglass hut or something like that, and especially like they were in Hawaii when they did this, right? So a lot of
Yes.
those booths are like within hotels and kind of like exposed, right? And so
a
what
great
you
point.
could do is you go and you take a pair of sunglasses, you put it on your face, and then you just walk away and you don't realize that you did, quote unquote, right? But you know what you're doing, but you just pretend you don't know what you're doing. So I think it's actually a pretty easy thing versus if you're like Winona-ing it and then you're like stuffing a ton of sweaters in your, in your bag, then that's going to be harder to get away with.
Well, also, yeah, that's true. One time I actually did walk out of anthropology with a shirt over my arm, and I didn't even realize it because it was black. I had a black shirt on. It was just on my sleeve. It was like on my arm. I had my purse, like I was holding my purse up, and the buzzer went off and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I brought it back to the register and I didn't want it, but I felt so guilty that I bought
But
it.
you bought it.
Yeah, and I still have it to this day. I've never worn it
Because
once.
if you didn't buy it,
they would think I was trying to steal it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So you
Yeah.
had to, good thing it was it expensive?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it's anthropology, so.
Yeah, and it was like so freaking ugly too, because it was like that phase where they were really boho. Not that they're not now, but like it was like I would never wear it. Like I held it up and was like, nah, and I like just didn't put it down. So yeah, now I mean it's still in my closet and it just like haunts me. It's like the telltale heart. I just hear it. Bum bum. Bum bum. Anyway, we should probably get to our dip dive of the day.
Yeah. I guess
your
it's
turn,
me,
Kate.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went really deep this past weekend on something just like kind of almost like it's a really sad. I mean, I love like old Hollywood and old Hollywood stories and everything. And I saw a picture somewhere of Shelley Duvall on the set of The Shining. And I was wondering like what happened to her because it's been a really long time since we've seen. Do you know who Shelley Duvall is?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the main person. She's Wendy in The Shining. So like
Yeah.
we've all seen her face. It's a very striking face that she has. She was, discovered by oh Lord, I'm going to forget Robert Altman, who did Nashville. And so she was in Nashville and all this kind of stuff. So she was actually this huge star in like the 70s and 80s. And even in the 90s, she was getting work. And then in the 2000s, she kind of just like dropped off the face of the earth. So, I started doing some like, diving into her. And, I just encourage people who really do love old Hollywood to read about her. And the Hollywood Reporter did an interview with her actually in the last year where they went down to Texas where she is and talked to her about basically like, what is she doing now and where is she and why she left. And, she doesn't really ever explicitly say anything about, the people she worked with or whatever, but it's very heavily implied that her experience on The Shining and the way that Stanley Kubrick pushed her is, really drove her to the brink. And, that'll take you down a rabbit hole of sort of learning about what it was like on the set of The Shining, which was, it seemed totally untenable and crazy.
Oh, wow.
And he just really Kubrick was one of these directors that, he wanted to push Wendy, her name's Shelley, as much as possible. And so, made it so she was crying for like 6 months straight every day, and that was as part of the role, but imagine the emotional toll that takes out of you. So, it's a very interesting read and it's more that like, I encourage people to go and look into it. Like I said, if you're into old Hollywood stuff, and it just kind of teaches you, man, hopefully how far we've come when it comes to being on the set and the way we treat not only actors, but crew members and everything like that. It just seemed pretty terrible. But historically, a lot of directors have been terrible. Alfred Hitchcock was supposed to be one of the worst people ever to work with.
Oh, is that right?
So we all kind of look at him as this like, oh, this jolly, horror man that we like seeing his cameos in his films. But no, he was pretty cruel to all of his actresses. So
oh, wow.
They all were.
I will definitely have to look that up because I have only seen The Shining once. I was too scared to see it again. But I also saw it when I was in like a sophomore in high school. So I feel like a lot's changed since then.
You know that Stephen King hates the movie version.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and I want to say he remade one on his own, like it's a TV movie to try to show what he wanted it to be, and of course it wasn't as good. But
that's rough. You hate to see that.
Yeah.
Also, before we leave, I want to apologize that my dog was panting so much. He's teething right now, you guys, and I found a literal shark tooth on the floor this morning. So, and then also I just want to give a shout out to a friend of the pod, Erica Cahoe. She just turned 50 this past weekend, also known as Erica Girardi.
Oh, friend of the pod.
Just wanted to give a shout out to our girl, Erica Jane. She turned 50 this weekend. And, I think this year is going to be a big one for her. So I just wanted to give her a SO out there.
Big things ahead.
To over the hill. But yeah, we will be back tomorrow with more Pop Chaser. Until then, check out our TV Watch Repeat episode. It came out on Monday, and it is for all the Friday Night Lights fans out there. So many fun facts on this one, like the production, the creation, the fact that like Kyle Chandler and Connie Britton never hooked up. Maybe, I don't know. You could listen. You gotta listen.
Yeah, it's scandalous, guys. It's scandalous.
Look, there is a cross-country road trip that we do not know what happened, but it is so good, and I really recommend everybody listens to it. And you can also check out all of our other podcasts. There are so many. I'm the Cute One, which is a Mary Kate and Ashley podcast, the Slut Pig podcast, if you are a Bravo fan and you have not listened to Christian Grey Snow's interview with Dorit Kemsley and Vicky Gunvalson from last week on the Slut Pig podcast, I'm telling you guys, it is that of legends. And it was his birthday, him and Erica not too far apart in terms of those birth dates.
It was a gift to us mostly.
It was a gift to us. He got a lot of shout outs from some housewives, past and present, for his B-Day. So it's so worth it. It's such a they're both such great interviews, and Dorit actually gives a bit of an exclusive. So definitely check it out. It's about Erica and if she will or will not be at the reunion for Beverly Hills, because we know she's been dodging press lately. And then there's of course the Bravo historian, aka Samantha Bush's podcast, Hot Off the Mess, and that is honestly your go-to for all things celebrity and pop culture and Bravo. And then Exposed Dragged Out, which is the incredible RuPaul podcast. So more to come. I promise you, there's more to come.
There's more to come. There's a trailer dropping this week, actually.
Ooh.
Maybe actually today.
Perhaps today. So
no, it's tomorrow.
It'll be tomorrow.
Thursday.
We'll announce it on Thursday. But yeah, we will be back tomorrow. You can check us out on thedip.com and use promo code POPCHASER for half off your yearly subscription. And until tomorrow, cheers.
I'm Robert Conti, Chief of the Metropolitan Police Department, and I need your help. Dangerous driving on DC streets has risen dramatically, resulting in tragic fatalities. Together, we can reverse this trend. So join me in our commitment to adopt safe driving behaviors in the district. Never speed, drive impaired, or drive distracted. Too much is at stake to be careless behind the wheel, and our officers are committed to a safer community. And you should too. Please help us by ending all dangerous driving behaviors.
Streaming only on Peacock.
John Wayne Gacy killed 32.
Straight from the killer's mouth.
They want you to believe that I alone committed these murders.
The new gripping 6-part documentary series, John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise. All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.